Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I wanted to talk about a few things here. I want to talk about some stuff with Andrew Lincoln and his new series called Cold Water. He actually did an interview recently, and so I want to get into some of that stuff there because Andrew Lincoln hasn't really talked about anything in the last however long. It's been a while, so we've actually heard from him recently. So I want to get into what he said about the show and everything like that. And then I also want to talk about some stuff with Dead City because there's some really interesting stuff that also came out yesterday. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about with all of that. So before we're going further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I'm going to be streaming later as well, so definitely go follow me on Twitch if you haven't. I'll be streaming quite a bit. I'll likely do, the next episode of The Walking Dead Telltales and also some other games as well. So yeah, I do hope to see you guys there. But let's get into, I guess, first some of the Andrew Lincoln stuff here because it's really, really interesting. So Andrew Lincoln actually did an interview pretty recently. It might have been like a week ago or something like that, but I was seeing it from @AndyLincolnNews, and he was talking about this new series and how it sort of all came together and, how it happened, and said that after he came back from America about 5 years ago, and I'm guessing that was for The Walking Dead, right? Because obviously he was there for many, many years filming The Walking Dead, but he said he was looking for something else to do in terms of producing or directing, and eventually this show came along here. And so that's really interesting when you look back at the process of everything back then, because, when Andrew Lincoln, I guess, left The Walking Dead, it really was an interesting thing just in general, because, obviously when he left the show, they announced that they were going to be doing a movie trilogy, right? So it was, first of all, that was shocking, to actually leave the show in such an epic way as well. It was announced beforehand. It was this really big sort of thing that was happening. And then all of a sudden they announced that, there's going to be a movie trilogy. And so it is kind of insane that the movie trilogy never happened. I still think a Walking Dead movie at some point will happen. And I think when you look at, what was happening back then with movie theaters and all of that, you weren't able to really watch a movie in the theaters. I think that's really why The Ones Who Live ended up being a TV show instead of, a trilogy or something like that, because I think, in terms of the story and all that too, maybe it was kind of hard to work out. I'm not entirely sure of how all of that went, but I think it was just one of those things where in terms of, people going to go see movies at the theaters, it wasn't happening as much. And I think things have gotten a little bit more back to normal now. But I think that, yeah, for a couple of years there, it made no sense to really do a movie, I feel like. And honestly, a TV show just makes a lot of sense, and especially because, it was 6 episodes. I still think it should have been 8 for sure, but still a TV show, I think, in terms of telling stories for The Walking Dead, it just makes a lot more sense. I still do think a Walking Dead movie is going to happen at some point. I don't know what the story would even be about, really, but at some point there will be a Walking Dead movie. But he also did talk about, apparently, this show is just kind of insane in general. Apparently, the beginning of the show is crazy. So something happens, and then I guess the character that he's playing does something that is so the opposite of what someone should do. And so I'm wondering if he's playing a villain in some sense, right? Obviously he's not going to be a villain because I don't think this show is going to necessarily have villains and heroes. It's not that type of show. It's going to be more of a complex drama, and there's going to be just a lot of stuff happening, right? It's a thriller, and it's going to be a thriller, right? And so I think that when you're looking at the role that he's going to be playing here, it's going to be really interesting to see Andrew Lincoln in a role like that, because he's always played heroes. He's always been the good guy, I guess, in any of the roles that I've seen him in. I haven't really seen him play a villain really ever. So, to play a darker role like this is going to be really, interesting to see, really fascinating. And I know some people aren't interested in this show because it's not The Walking Dead, but I still do think it is going to be something that is really interesting. If you like Andrew Lincoln, especially, and you really like his acting, I think that it's going to be a really great show, because I really do think that, he is the best at, doing that type of drama where it's, there's family drama, there's character drama, there's a lot of issues like that. I think that he's really great in terms of delivering how just insane and the tension of a scene, could be. He's always been really amazing at that. He really has always been so amazing at doing that. And I think that once the trailer comes out for this show, once we're able to actually watch the show entirely, I honestly think it's going to be very successful. I think that a lot of people are going to watch it and be like, wow, that was really amazing, because Andrew Lincoln should have a lot more roles than he does. I don't really understand why he hasn't been in any big movie or big TV show besides The Walking Dead. It's kind of insane to me because he's such an incredible actor. But if you think about all the amazing scenes he's been in, Like, he's never really been nominated for like an Emmy or like anything like that in terms of awards and all of that. And it's so hard for me to really believe when you're looking at just The Walking Dead in general and some of the best scenes on that show that Andrew Lincoln was never nominated for anything like that in terms of like Emmys and all of that. Like, I just don't understand that. That makes absolutely no sense at all. And so I'm excited for this show. I really cannot wait for this show. I do think that the show could be honestly really great. It's apparently coming out in the fall. Like, I had no idea what the release date was, but I saw from @AndyLincoln News that it was supposed to be coming out in the fall. So that's really exciting. It's probably going to come out just before The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of shows coming out this year. Like, honestly, Dead City is like, what, less than 2 months away now, right? And then we're also going to have Last of Us in like a month from now. And then we'll have this show with Andrew Lincoln. You know, it's 6 episodes. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then right after that is The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3. So that's going to be really amazing. I really can't wait to watch it. But I also want to talk about The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 here, and there's some news that we have for the show. So I saw here from Julian Cannon on Twitter, or I guess X, that he's going to be watching The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2, and the review will be out on April 30th. So that's really interesting. So I guess that means that a lot of the reviews and everything for the show, the early reviews, are going to be out on April 30th. I mean, that's a bit later than normal, you know, to have it out, I guess, on the Wednesday before the show actually premieres. But I guess that does make a lot of sense in terms of, you know, I guess the excitement for the show and whatnot. Like, all the early reviews coming out, you know, just talking about how amazing the show is or whatever. You know, if it's out on April 30th, like, yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot of excitement built up to the show's premiere that Sunday. So I guess it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're thinking about it, like The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, I believe the early reviews came out on February 14th. And the show premiered on February 25th, right? So that was like 11 days beforehand. So yeah, I mean, it's basically, you know, the same time frame. It's generally like a week beforehand or within a week or two beforehand. So I don't remember what it was like for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2 in terms of those reviews, but I just hope that things are better in terms of, you know, when this show actually does come out and some of the, you know, spoilers that are out there, because I know that spoilers do generally come out like, it's always like light spoilers. Like, you'll see some stuff in the reviews that are kind of a little bit too spoilery, but a lot of stuff came out for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2 specifically that, yeah, I hope honestly a lot of that stuff doesn't happen for Dead City season 2. I think it would be just really unfortunate for the show. But yeah, we know when we're going to be getting the early reviews for The Walking Dead Dead City season 2. So obviously on April 30th, I will do all of my reviews and everything of, or not my reviews of the reviews, but my breakdown of all the early reviews and talk about, you know, what everyone is saying. We'll always focus on like some of the negative opinions and then go all the way to the positive opinions. I always do that. I always try to pick like some of the negative opinions, then go to the positive opinions as well, and just try to see generally where things are at overall. And so, yeah, that'll be really exciting. I also will be getting into the Invincible season 3 finale. Like, I'll probably do a video on that next, I guess. It was a really interesting finale. Obviously, a lot of people are really excited about the fact that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is going to be going up against Stephen Yeun, right? So that's exciting because it's basically, you know, it's the rematch of Glenn and Negan, right? So I do want to talk about that because there was a lot of excitement there. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here though. Definitely post your thoughts down below on, you know, I guess if you've also watched the Invincible season 3 finale, like what were your thoughts on that? And some of the stuff with Dead City season 2, how do you think that the show's going to do this season? I do think that for Dead City season 2, it's going to be a really great season. It's going to be pretty successful because I do think that compared to, you know, Daryl Dixon season 2, the issue with that show wasn't, I mean, obviously one character death, I think a lot of people were very upset about, but besides that, it was a lot of what happened right after episode 1 aired. And like everyone watched everything. And it was just like, you know, the excitement for watching every Sunday, I think really hurt the season. And then, you know, obviously only being 6 episodes, I think really hurt the show. So I think there was a lot of that. And also when you really look at the Ones Who Lives finale, like it really did hurt The Walking Dead for quite a while, that I think it just took quite some time to actually sort of, you know, get exciting again. And I think that also hurt season 2 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. So I think going into season 3 here, you know, later this fall, obviously the trailer looked really great. I think in terms of the story, you're not going to be splitting up Daryl and Carol and having a whole different story focused on Carol getting to France. And so things will be a lot better. Like things already got a lot better, you know, after episode 4 when Carol was just there. Like those last 2 episodes I thought were really great because it was just Daryl and Carol and the story was focused more on them and it was all like one story. So it wasn't just, you know, all this stuff everywhere kind of thing. So I think that, you know, for these shows, it's going to be really great. And Dead City season 2 it's 8 episodes. Like, that's going to be, honestly, I know it might seem like I'm making a really big deal about it sometimes, but like, once we're actually watching the show, like, it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be like, it's going to feel like old Walking Dead. Honestly, it's really going to feel like that. And I think that in terms of, you know, Bruegel and where this story is going to go, you know, returning characters, this and that, you know, set up for the future, I think it's just going to feel like classic Walking Dead. And maybe it's more exciting than The Ones Who Live, right? Like, obviously, that's sort of, that excitement is very hard to beat because we were so excited about Rick and Michonne returning. But in terms of the story, it could be a much better story, right? So we'll have to wait and see until we actually watch the show. But yeah, that's also coming out very, very soon, right? And I do think the trailer should be out next week. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.